This is the Extra Paycheck Podcast, episode number 81.
You're listening to Extra Paycheck Podcast, where you will learn how to build and grow your own successful online business. Now, here's your host, Alex Soul.
Welcome to yet another episode of Extra Paycheck Podcast. This is episode 81, and in this episode, I would be answering a question. What would I do if I had to start building a business from scratch? What would I have to do if I had to do it all over again from the very beginning? Now, this is a very interesting question, especially for those who haven't started a business yet, online that is. And in this episode, I will be thinking over my experience of 8 or actually 9 years almost of building different online businesses, building different websites, blogs, and so on, failing sometimes and succeeding other times. So this will be a recap of my experience and an explanation of how I see online business in 2016 and how I would start a brand new business right now if I had to do it all over again. So let's get straight into it. The very first thing that I would have to decide on is the kind of business that it would be. And once again, I would go into affiliate marketing because in my opinion and experience, this is one of the cheapest businesses to start online. And it's pretty much free to start, except a few little expenses of less than $100 for a website, for domain name, things like that. Other than that, it's all your effort, your time, and that's pretty much it. And as many people who start online businesses, they start without any investment. This is why affiliate marketing, I think, is one of the best models when you're just starting an online business. So if I had to start all over again, I would go with affiliate marketing because the potential is huge and the entry price is pretty much non-existent because it's pretty much free to get in to that space and start doing it. So we have our model down, affiliate marketing. Now, the next thing, a very important thing would be choosing down the industry that we're going to work in and more specifically a niche. Now, there's a big difference between industry and a niche, and a lot of people confuse those and don't really know the difference, and some people haven't even heard of the niche before. So here's a quick rundown. An industry is a general industry of your product or whatever you want to work in. So let's say you want to work in health or dieting or cars. Those are all industries. Now, it's really, really hard to build a website in an industry. Let's say it would be really hard to start a successful website that just provides people with news, or it would be very hard to build a successful website these days that provides general advice on health or on weight loss or on dieting or cooking, whatever that is. And to have higher chances of succeeding, you have to niche it down. You have to find a niche, which means a very specific segment of that industry. A niche is basically a group of people who are interested in a very specific thing. So, for instance, a gluten-free diet would be more of a niche, while dieting will be an industry. DIY electric cars, now this is a niche compared to cars, which is an industry, and even electric cars, which is a sub-industry, but it's still too broad of an industry to, concentrate on electric cars. So you have to concentrate on something a lot more specific. Now, here's the problem with choosing a niche. You could go into a niche that is way too small and you might not be able to find enough people who are interested in your offer. Now, you could build a very popular website within your niche, but if your niche has 20 people in it, then it's kind of pointless because it would be really, really hard to monetize this kind of traffic. So that's something you have to spend some time researching and thinking about, trying to figure out if your niche is narrowed down enough and if it has enough demand. There are things like keyword tools. There's a Google Keyword Planner, which is free to use. There's Jaxi that I'm using at the moment, is a keyword tool where you type in keywords related to your niche. And these programs, they give out a number of monthly searches on Google or daily searches on Google and other search engines. They kind of show you how many people are interested in that, if it's expensive to advertise in that niche, and if it is expensive to advertise, that's a good point because it means that there's money to be made since people are willing to put in the money to advertise that in that niche, to advertise a certain product. However, one of the biggest mistakes that I see beginners make, is spending way too much time trying to come up with a perfect niche, trying to come up with a perfect industry to work in. You could spend months, if not years, doing your research and trying to figure out which niche is best. And I think this is time wasted. Sure, you have to spend a few days if you need to pick a proper thing you want to work with, but you'll never find that perfect gem, and you'll just waste your time searching for it and thinking about it. So jump into it as soon as you can. Don't let yourself spend more than a few days thinking about your niche, and go ahead with it. Worst case, you will be able to build another website later in a different niche if you see fit, if you find something more interesting, more profitable. And another suggestion that I have is that if you have no clue where to start, choose one of your hobbies, choose one of your passions. First of all, because it will be a lot more fun and a lot easier to work in an industry that you have a passion for, or that you appreciate, or that you have knowledge in. If you wanna try building a website around a subject that you have no clue about, or that you're not even remotely interested in, it's going to be really hard, and you will give up sooner than later. I'll give you one of the examples that I built, one of the websites that I started a while ago. It was a website that was trying to sell commercial shredders. Shredders, like paper shredders, but these paper shredders would cost up to $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. And spoiler alert, I have not sold a single one. Besides, I spent a lot of time trying to build this website where I don't care about shredders at all. I don't know anything about them, and it was just a really wrong choice of a niche for me. And a lot of people fall for that because they go for the most expensive product, or for something that's super incredibly very popular, which means it's really, really hard to compete with everyone else in that market. So go with something that you like, or that you have knowledge in, or something that you're really passionate about. Try to make sure that there is a demand for that product or that niche, and try to make sure that it's not one of the hottest and biggest industries out there, because those are very hard to penetrate, especially as a beginner. Once you get the knowledge and the experience of building websites, building brands, making money online, you could follow many different routes, and you could go into something more competitive and a lot more rewarding. But you have to start with something simpler and something that will interest you, because if you lose interest in your website, let's be honest, you will quit that website without making a single dime, and you would just waste your time with it. So that's about it on the niche selection, finding your niche. So that's the first step. Find your niche, find something that you want to work with. Next step, you have to set up a website. This is a foundation of any online business. Sometimes we refer to them as blogs, sometimes we call them websites, or there are different words being thrown around right now. Let's just call it a website. And that's what you need to start your online business. You need to have your online presence, and you need to have a place where you would put out content, where people would come to consume your content and to make money for you, to buy stuff you promote, to click on your ads, whatever the ways you're monetizing your website, you need to have that website. I did an episode recently, and I'll put it up in the show notes page, which breaks down basically the cost of starting a website, starting an online business. And as I mentioned before, it could be as low as $100 per year, even less. So that's kind of negligible expense, but you need that. You need a website, you need the hosting for the website, and you need a domain name. All of that could be gotten very cheaply, but you need that. This is, once again, the foundation of your business, and there's no way around it. The cool thing is that in 2016, there are platforms like WordPress and many others which allow you to build beautiful websites at no cost to you. Even if you have never built a website, you're not a designer, you're not a coder, you could pick up a theme, free or paid, which already looks great, and just build your website around it. So that's not something, once again, that you should spend too much time thinking about. Just get into the mindset of working, set up your website, pick any free theme, and go with it. You could always change it later to something that you like better, or once you understand how things work, you could switch those themes around as much as you want without losing your content, without losing your traffic. So just set up a website and start working on it. So how do you work on a website? The next step is content. You need to start producing content for your website. Content is blog articles, is videos if you want, is audios, just like this podcast. You have to create content. And I usually suggest creating written content. Blog posts, informative articles, that's what will draw people to your website. These are the things that will rank on search engines such as Google and bring new visitors to your website. I know that it might sound like something that is very hard to do, and you might not like writing, you might not be very good at writing, English might not be your first language, but all of those things are unimportant as well. And I'm saying that because when I started my very first website, or actually a few websites, my English was incredibly bad, especially when writing. English is not my first language, as you can hear by my accent, but the more you write, the more you practice, the better you get at it, which means it gets easier with time. The more you work on your website, easier it gets, better it gets. Your content will get better. I guarantee it. As long as you put in the effort, as long as you're consistent and you keep putting out new content all the time for your readers, you will get better at it and you will hate it less and less. And now I actually like writing. It is hard sometimes to come up with a good subject or with a really good article, but when I get into the mindset, I could write 2,000, 3,000, 7,000 words if I'm really into writing that specific piece of content. So it does get easier and you will get better with time. Now, I would suggest writing as much as you can at the beginning, because it will be hard for you to write longer articles. So you'll probably end up writing smaller articles like 300, 400 words, 500 words. And if you're writing short articles, you should aim to writing at least one article per day, at the very least 5 articles per week for the first month or so, because you need to populate that website. You need to show Google and other search engines that you are very serious about your website, you're willing to work on it, and you're very consistent. Another thing that helps a lot is, although joining affiliate programs such as Amazon Associates is completely free to you as an affiliate, you can become their partner and sell whatever is being sold on Amazon through your website. It's completely free, but you need to once again show them that your website is established and that there is a lot of good content in order for them to accept you as an affiliate. It was easier to get approved before, 8-10 years ago, but too many people applied, and most of the people have not done anything with their accounts. Accounts went stale. Now, Amazon is kind of picky about who they choose, and most of the other affiliate programs as well, they take a little bit of time to verify that you're legit, that you have a website that's actually functioning, that's being updated, and that has quite a bit of content on it. So that's one of the biggest suggestions before applying to affiliate networks or affiliate programs, associate programs, partner programs. Fill up your website with original content that you have written yourself. That's another biggie for those who are just starting. Don't just copy paste content from anywhere else on the web. You will get penalized by Google. You will create a whole bunch of problems for yourself and your business. So create your own content, write your own articles, whole bunch of articles, and only then sign up to affiliate programs such as Amazon Associates. Now, once you have quite a few articles and you are now approved to Amazon, which means that you could write articles featuring specific products from Amazon, and whenever someone clicks on one of those links, because Amazon provides specific links to you, they will know that the person came from your website, made a purchase, and they will pay you the commission. Okay, so great. You could now monetize your content. However, you need people coming to your website in order to buy things, in order to make you commissions. And that's another step. This step means promoting your content. There are many different strategies of promoting your content. One of them is sharing everything you do on social media. Now, it doesn't have to be your personal page. You have to actually create fan page for your brand. You have to create a page on Google Plus, on Pinterest, on Facebook, on many other social platforms, and with time you'll have to figure out which platforms suit your business more than others, because not all of them will be working out for you. Some will, some won't, but that will come later. At first, I would suggest creating those social networking accounts and sharing your articles on those accounts. If you can, create videos on YouTube about your website, or doing reviews of products, whatever it is that you've chosen as your niche, and share those videos on YouTube. The big thing here is trying to become an expert in that niche, means trying to be everywhere you can possibly be. So be on social media, whatever that social media is. Try to get guest writing opportunities on other blogs that are related to your niche. Now, if you have been writing as many articles as I just told you for a few months, you got pretty good at writing articles. Now you can ask other websites if you could post an original article on their website that you would write specifically and only for them. Now that's a whole other story, but it works. That's one of the ways of promoting your brand, promoting your website, and getting more people, getting your audience coming to your website and liking your stuff and potentially buying from your website and making money for you. All right. So that's the step number 5. It's monetizing. As I mentioned, step number 3, I think, or 4, I already mixed up. I'm all mixed up with my steps. But once you start promoting, once you start getting people to your website, you have to work on those affiliate links, affiliate placements, and you have to start figuring it out what kind of content people prefer on your website. What kind of content makes people buy, where you should be putting your links, like the best place to put a link to a product on your website so people actually click on it because they want to buy whatever product you're talking about. And all of that, I know it might sound very complicated right now, but this is why it's one of the later steps, because it comes with time. You will spend a lot of time figuring out all the little steps and bettering your business. The most important thing is step number 2, as I said, to set up a website and just start getting work done. Start working, and only then start slowly improving things. As you go along with your website, with your business, as you learn how things work and how they should be working, you will be able to make improvements which will impact your income, will allow you to work less and earn more. That's the dream, right? That's the point. But it will take time. You can't expect that to happen overnight. You can't expect that to happen in the first month, or even 2 or even 3 first months. Most people that I know that have created successful blogs and are now making an incredibly good living online, I'm talking 5 figures, 6 figures a month. It took them a year, 2 years, 3 years to get to that point. Now, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people could get to a very good income within the first year. But if you want to become rich off of this gig, if you want to become, wealthy, if you want to put it, if you want to start making, $5,000, $10,000 per month, it will probably take you at least a year or 2. It will not happen overnight, because you cannot learn all of those things overnight. You cannot get all that experience. Now think about most people who earn $60,000, $80,000, $100,000 a year as a career at their job, at their 9 to 5. Look how many years those people invested. Most of them, they have invested at least 15, 20 years of studies. And I mean, you have to include your primary school and high school and everything else. But then they had to do college, they had to do university. Some of them even have master's degrees. And that takes a lot of money and a lot of time, years and years and years and years of learning. When you start an online business, it's kind of similar. It might take you less time to learn all of that, but it does take time. And while knowledge is great, at this point I have a lot of knowledge. I've been doing that for almost 10 years now. It's going to be 9 years at the end of October that I started. So knowledge is great, but that knowledge is not very useful in an online business if you don't apply it and if you don't get the actual experience from doing things. Just learning, just reading blogs, just Listening to podcasts is great. It'll help you. It'll give you the knowledge, but knowledge does not bring income. You actually have to get out there and start working. As I mentioned at the very beginning of this podcast, just when selecting a niche, don't look for a perfect one. Don't think of building a perfect website. Don't think of writing a perfect article. Don't look for perfection at all. That's not the point. You could always improve and better yourself. But if you spend time looking for perfection, that's where most of your time will be wasted, looking for perfection without seeing any results. So get out there, start working. And another kind of quick question that I get asked a lot is, what is the timeline in order to start seeing income? That I can't answer the question. It depends on so many things, so many factors. I have seen people that took a year to make their first penny. I have seen people that made their first dollar within a few days. In my case, it took me 1 or 2 weeks. Within the first 10 days, let's say, I made my very first commission, and that commission got me hooked on affiliate marketing. But there isn't a specific amount of time that I could predict you having success or not having success. It's very different for each and every one of us. It depends on our ability to learn. It depends on our willingness to work. It depends on how consistent we are, how much work we put into our business, and so many other things. But of course, the more time you put into it, the faster you will see the results. And that's kind of the secret of it all. When you work hard and you put in a lot of hours into your business, you will start seeing results. There are no shortcuts. I've been looking for one for the past 9 years. I haven't found a shortcut. There isn't one. The only thing that I could suggest is hard work. So whenever I start a new venture, a new business, online or offline, whatever it is, I know that I will have to put in a lot of work in order to see the results. And sometimes those businesses fail. And that's because I chose the wrong niche. I took too long to do something, whatever the reason might be. I'm not always successful either. Sometimes I succeed, sometimes I'll fail. However, I know that I will have to put in the work. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please head over to extrapodcast.com/81 for the show notes, where I will put up some information relevant to this episode. Also head over to extrapodcast.com/iTunes in order to subscribe to the show, leave a rating and a review, which will help the show tremendously. Thank you once again for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next Monday.